Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome to Buddhist Fellowship. For those who are new as well as regulars, we shall do our normal morning puja first before we invite Dr. Huda out. Okay, preliminary homage to the Buddha. Let us pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Now we will do our offerings of the 5 items to express our gratitude to the Buddha and serves as a symbol to remind us to remember the teachings. Let's chant the verses together. Offering of light. Light symbolizes wisdom. May the light of Dhamma dispel the darkness of ignorance. Offering of incense. Incense symbolizes the fragrance of pure moral conduct. This reminds us to cultivate good conduct. Offering of water. Water symbolizes purity, clarity, and calmness. It reminds us to practice the Buddha's teachings to cleanse one's mind, which is full of desires, ill will, and delusion, to attain the state of purity. Offering of fruits. Fruits symbolize the ultimate fruit of enlightenment, which is our goal. They also remind us that all actions will have their effects. Offering of flowers. Flowers symbolize impermanence. The freshness, fragrance, and beauty of flowers are impermanent. This reminds us that we should all live in the present. Remembering thus, we should reduce our craving and attachment. Salutation to the Triple Gem. Let us pay respects to the Triple Gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sanghang Namami. Going for refuge, we chant these verses for taking the 3 refuges. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. 5 precepts. We chant these verses to observe the 5 precepts. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kame Sumichachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sura Meraya Majja Pamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Recollection of the Buddha. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Buddha. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampano sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Recollection of the Dhamma. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Dhamma. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipassiko opanaiko pacchatang veditabo vinyuhiti. Recollection of the Sangha. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Sangha. Supatipano bhagavato sawaka sangho ujupatipano bhagavato sawaka sangho nyaya patipano bhagavato sawaka sangho Samicipatipano bhagavato sawaka sangho yadidang cattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala esa bhagavato sawaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjalikaharaniyo anuttarang punyaketang lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We have some announcements before we do our 10-minute meditation. Okay, firstly, we have Stillness and Turbulent times. Today is the last day for the early bird prices for the hotel stay, as well as the conference. Virtual Zoom is free, but donations are welcome. Do sign up. This is the Jhana Growth Retreat in November. The earlier one is in December 24th to 29th. This is 12th to 21st, organized by Bodhiana. Do go to their web, Eventbrite to register if you are interested. Okay, November talks. We have next week learnings from Diganaka Sutta by Sister Rachel Lim. It is in person. Recordings will be released only at a later date, so do come and join us in person at BF if you are keen. We have BF Youth and Indonesian Service in November. The next week is mindfulness calligraphy at Fo Kwang Shan by the youth. And the Indonesian Dhamma discussions are on the 3rd and the 4th week of the month. Dhamma Foundation course started in September, but you are still welcome to join. The recordings will be available to you for the lessons that you have missed. And the speakers are our Dhamma advisors, Sister Sylvia Bay and Brother Ong Chai Chai. Do sign up for Zoom. On-site ones are already full. BF Junior Youth, age 13 to 16, every Saturday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Please refer to the poster for their topics. They are all carried out via Zoom. Rahula Connects, it is their graduation day on the 7th of November. Everyone is welcome. To support them, please sign up at tinyurl.com, Rahula Connects 2021. They are all, the graduation will be conducted online. Or share your favorite sutta with everyone. Though the recommended donation is there, it's fine if you don't donate or you want to donate a small amount for BF's building fund. You have a favorite sutta, we will do the recording of the sutta and it will be shown on YouTube and Facebook. This is new. It's a 4-week sutta study by Ajahn Sujato. Every Sunday from 28th November, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. till the 19th of December. So he just finished translating this famous collection of short suttas. So he will be sharing his insights along the way. Help build our Dhamma home. We are getting a new premises, and do help us to get by donating. You can go to bfdhammahome.org, bfdhammahome.org to see the various ways you can donate. Okay, before we have Dr. Huda out, we have 10 minutes of guided meditation by Ajahn Brahm.
With your eyes closed, bring your attention first of all to your body sitting here. And please relax your body. How do you relax your body? By being mindful of your body and being kind to it. What do I mean? We can start with your legs. Ask your legs. Legs, how do you feel right now? And keep asking that question until you get an answer. Just imagining your legs to be like separate living beings. When you ask a question of your legs with respect, sometimes my legs tell me that they need to be adjusted, moved. I listen, which means the mindfulness is starting to work. It's not just being aware, it's getting to know. And the kindness means that I change my posture slightly. I often spend a long time with my body when I'm meditating, at the very beginning, to make sure it's all fine. But we've only got a few minutes, so then go to your bottom, your buttocks. I say that because sometimes people's buttocks get sore sitting on a cushion or on a chair. So we want to relax to the max so we're comfortable. It's not just indulgence. This is simple kindness to your own body. And then move up to your back. Just imagining your back to need a big stretch. The reason I do that, I've just been living in forests all my life, and even in Australia, you see even kangaroos do stretching exercises. These are native wild kangaroos. So I do a big stretch of my body at the beginning and just feeling all these chemicals going into my body, just painkillers, immune enhancers, until my back, it feels really great. And then I relax the muscles of my shoulders. Spend some time on my shoulders because they often have a lot of aches on them. I imagine those muscles being pulled apart by two invisible demons, actually four, two on each side. And I let go. Let go of stretching. Let go of stress. Allowing those muscles just to be. And they respond. My awareness of those muscles, you can relax them almost at any time. Oh, that's great. And then I look at my hands. Where are the hands supposed to be? It doesn't really matter. You put your hands in a place which you feel to be comfortable. And ask your hands, like your hands were separate entities from you. Hands, how do you feel? Do you need to be moved? And then you can move back up to your shoulders and neck to make sure that the head is well balanced on top of the neck. Not too far to the left, not too far to the right, not too far forward or too far back. Nicely balanced. And even in your throat, if you have any tickly sensation like I have now, I do have allergies. It's part of what I inherited from my father who had asthma. Just be kind to your throat. Find ways of relaxing it. And then move up to your face. In your face there's many muscles which stretch, scrunch up because of your emotions. And by relaxing the muscles on your face, you can also relax some of the emotions. So I feel the muscles around my eyes. And I loosen them all. And around my mouth too. And once I've just done a quick scan of my body, I next become aware of my body just as one unit, just one whole. The whole purpose is to be aware and kind enough to relax everything. Because I've been doing this for years, I notice that when I deliberately relax my body with mindfulness and kindness, I get this delightful feeling. The delight of having a body which is much more at peace than usual. It's the same delight which people pay a lot of money for, to go to some beach in Bali on a recliner, or to have a body massage, or to go in a hot tub. I do that just automatically, mindful and kind. And I enjoy that delightful feeling. Delight is part of meditation. I'll just stay there for a few seconds. we go deeper inside to our mind. How peaceful are you, or how agitated are you? There's something which I hope you've heard me teach about the peace-ometer, like a thermometer, speedometer. How peaceful are you? Given a number from 1 to 10. 10 is agitated, 1 is very peaceful. What makes that reading go up to more disturbance? What makes that reading go down to more peace? For any one of you who wants to know where this fits in, this is almost third Satipatthana. What causes disturbance to the mind? What stops the disturbance? You're putting your awareness on peace, peace of mind. You don't think peace, you experience peace. And if those of you who like to watch your breathing, just watch your breath, experiencing it, but don't sacrifice peace. And be kind to this moment, opening the door of your heart to whatever you're experiencing right now. And experiencing it. Don't think about it. Go deeper inside in the thoughts, to the silence which exists in the present moment. Just here, relaxing, making no plans, making no judgments. Grant to yourself these moments of peace. You deserve them. How do you feel now? What's it like in your mind? Your emotional world? How much peace can you feel? And how relaxed is your body? And how joyful does it feel? The time is up now. Instead of ringing the gong, I just ask you to slowly open your eyes. And come out from your meditation. And smile. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Prof. This is Eileen. You remember Eileen?
Hello, Dr. Huda.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming again. It's good to see a lot of friendly faces, happy faces this morning. Okay, I am very proud and delighted and honored to introduce Dr. Noor Huda Ismail. He's a visiting fellow at the RSIS, the Rajaratnam School of International Studies at NTU. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and the founder of the Institute for International Peace Building in Indonesia. He shared a room with one of the Bali bombers when he studied for 6 years at an Islamic boarding school that was founded by JI leaders. However, through his institute, he has been embarking on a controversial approach to helping former convicted terrorists back into society. And I understand that he has interviewed hundreds of terrorists over in Southeast Asia and also in the Middle East. He has written a book, My Friend the Terrorist, and has produced many documentary films. And some of you may have seen his latest interview on CNA under My Conversation. It was a fantastic interview. And My Conversation also invites many notable people, like the WHO chief scientist, and also Jane Goodall, the conservationist, and also Prof. Huda. So without further ado, I want to hand the mic over to Prof. Thank you very much for coming today. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Your introduction makes me feel I'm very important. But before start, I'm going to tell you a bit my story, because I was surprised being asked to share with you with Buddhist Fellowship, and then I tried to get some sense, how people actually view Buddhist Fellowship. One of my hobbies is, of course, talking to locals, either in cafes or, and especially my favorite, always talking to Grab drivers. So I said, do you know Buddhist Fellowship? Oh, yes, of course I know. This for the atas people, right? But you know what? Because they're very atas. I used to be, attended one of them too. They all the four smart people, which is good, And then, but actually, you are local. You don't sound local, right? No, I'm Indonesian, Oh, okay, then. Actually, Buddhist Fellowship should learn from Islam, Why? Because Islam can attract so many followers. Because men can have 4 wives. So at least if they cannot find now, they have an aspiration, a law. So this is one thing that they should learn. So that is the beauty of having conversation with people on the street. At least, we discussed that Buddhist Fellowship has a specific place for Singaporeans. Okay, I don't want to talk about polygamy here. So, but I'm talking about a bit creepy subject. But why normal individuals get involved in political violence? My talk usually will be very short, so that we can have enough time for coffee after this and conversations. I only want us to remember 3 things. No more than that, because our brain is very limited. Unlike Raffles girl, like that, will sponge, a lot of, informations. Because this is, okay, with my creepy background, my position to the subject is very creepy, And any social scientist, when you want to do something, you must be clear with your positions. Objectivity matters. But unlike my approach, I'm part of the fish within the tank fish. So I can feel the pain, I can feel the coldness being inside the pain. So my relation to the subject, because I used to be part of the network myself. When I was 12, I'd be a bit naughty, Indonesian usually a bit naughty. Okay, I sent to boarding school. So boarding school is a place to discipline you. I had to sleep on the floor like this, very rudimentary facilities. I cried the first day. Then I was approached by a 12-year-old boy. He said, "It will be okay, I will look after you." And he became my roommate, and I look up him highly because he speaks very good English, no martial art and things like that. Quickly, he became my mentor. So 15 years later, I worked for Washington Post, covering the first Bali bombing. I cried inside to see that incident, and then to my surprise, oh my God, the guy who used to work to help me was among those Bali bombers. Since that day, I have very personal questions, why normal individual can get involved in this subject and can involve in these creepy things. And took me. And then I studied in St. Andrews University, the real St. Andrews, not the St. Andrews here, in Scotland. Where actually I didn't study, I played golf there. Because that is the mecca for golfers. People think I'm fancy. Oh, study St. Andrews, yeah, that's good for certificate. But tell you the truth, I actually just play golf. So, that's an Asian like that. The image is very important. Posturing is very important. What you do, what you feel inside, we don't take you account. But okay, so when I studied there, I did one of my field work. I went to Northern Ireland. In the Northern Ireland, I witnessed with my own eyes, the city literally divided like this. There is a street, speak like this. One the Protestants, one the Catholic. They put wall, they quoted the same Bible, but encouraging them to fight each other, even though they... So this is, then but I met a tiny NGO trying to help those who are so-called terrorists to start new life. And I said, okay, if this guy can help those, individuals who get involved in terrorism and start new life, I want to do the same. But there was no Terrorism for Dummies book back then. I have to start myself. So then I established the Institute of International Peace Building, where I study a lot, interviewing, as Dr. Hu mentioned, number of convicted terrorists inside Indonesian jail, Malaysian here, and Singapore, not Singapore, also southern Philippines, and also southern Thailand. But because of this unique work, I got a number of fellowship too in French. I went to French prisons. So talking to those just to understand what are the processes. So this is going back to my talk again. 3 things. Number 1, the concept called banality of evil. These people are super banal. They're just normal, like you and me, like us. But there are processes, so they are banal. To my surprise, those so-called terrorists, we tend to believe terrorists what Netflix has fed us. Oh, creepy, carry AK-47, they don't talk, and then, But when I meet them, they're just very nice in the sense, as human being, They treat me, they greet me, so that's number 1. The term banality of evil is not my term. It is a term coined by American Jewish scholar called Hannah Arendt. Hannah Arendt, was one of the survivors of, the Nazi. Then she fled to U.S. and became lecturer. And then she was asked by a newspaper called New Yorker to cover the trial of Eichmann Ehrlich. She's like a Jew, and then during the trial, this guy is just so normal. Get up in the morning, playing piano, even prepare the breakfast for the select. And then she coined that term, banality of evil. So those people who I've been talking to, now I'm working, because I have a unique work, a lot of work with the Islamic side. And then now I'm working a lot now with the Exit Germany, Exit Norway. individual who used to be part of white supremacists, driven by, the supremacist white, and they decided to leave. So we changed note. What are the processes? It turned out, meeting with them, going back to the basic concept of banality of evil, how banal they are, how normal they are. I was in Japan, also the same thing too, with those who involved with Aung San Suu Kyi. I was in India, I was this. Look at what happened in Myanmar. Buddhists should encourage peaceful, but those people who get involved in violence, they are also normal like us. So banal, it means, Huda doing work a lot in Indonesia, just chaotic place, it's Muslim, Singapore will not be happy, will not affect. No, it can affect Singapore too. Real cases, right? Many, even an Indian Christian wanted to harm to others, which is beyond what we used to imagine. So banality of evil. And number 2, so it's almost finished, Doctor is very quick. So number 1, banality. What is number 1 again? So you go back, okay, good lecture, banality of evil. Second thing, anyone here having a PR or used to be PR or citizen? Before being a citizen, you PR first, right? You still PR. So second concept is PR, so you will not forget. But PR means here process and relation. Process means no one born as a terrorist. Require processes. No one read Quran, okay, I want to kill others. No one read or listen to Bin Laden speeches and then get up like that. It's required processes. And that process has to do with relations. And this is where my talk all about. It's about masculinity. People always think, at least for now, when people get involved because of specific ideology. But my argument, my PhD working on specifically on the role of masculinity in mobilizing Indonesians to fight in Afghanistan, southern Philippines, and also recently in Syria. So I interviewed this guy, those Afghan veterans, Moro veterans, and ISIS returnees. And then to my surprise again, those people are nice, banal, but what makes them different? They were socialized since early on into specific type of masculinity, which is toxic. What is it? You have to be, as a man, you need to protect, which is actually good. The man, you must to help others, which is good. You man must be strong, which is good. However, the group hijack it, interpret it with a different meaning, just lead into whatever they want. So this process, so I classified their process into another 3. Before fighting, during fighting, and after fighting. So during fighting, those who get involved to become a foreign fighter, to become a fighter, they were socialized in specific type of masculinity. One of my sources, for instance, he was born in Aceh. In Aceh, since baby, he was socialized with the notion of men carrying gun is cool. You control, you in charge. But maybe here, men are not like that, And as tired, tired of the gun cleaning, and I don't know whether Brother Chua like to carry gun, But that's but for Singaporean, are not like that. But for Acehnese, when Aceh was under the military, right, occupation with Indonesia was a bit harsh to suppress people in Aceh. Indonesian, Jakarta sent number of armies. And they carry AK-47, they carry weapon. Those who carry weapon, a man carry weapon, earn specific status. And my character called Akbar was so obsessed of one day to carry AK-47, socialized since early on. This is in my film called Jihad Selfie, where was screened here in Singapore with Madam Halimah attended to. This is a way the connection between specific socialization into toxic masculinity has influenced young people to achieve the manhood for carry AK-47. Influence that. So But luckily, Akbar decided not to go because she accidentally meeting people like me. In my cafe, he met me, and then not only me, but then we have a discussion. But basically, what I'm trying to say, in the process, socialization is very important to more healthy type of masculinity rather than toxic one. For those, and then second one, during fighting. Anyone doing NS here? All? You did your NS? Not yet. Do you?
Oh, I served my NS.
Already?
No, I also carried gun.
So did you have any imagination that carrying gun is cool thing?
Sorry?
Did you have any imagination or a fantasy that carrying gun is such a cool thing?
Not really. It's just that once we reach the army age, we have to carry guns.
So yeah, but our socialization to gun start from early, a lot of movies and all of that. So basically, so during fighting, during NS, people who imagine, fantasize that carrying gun is cool, they internalize that value. In the context of Indonesian, Malaysian, as also Singaporean who traveled in Afghanistan in the 1980s, the group come up with a program called Militarized Masculinity. So training carry gun, AK-47. It's not about Islam. It's about militaristic training, socialization. Nothing, like you do scrolling, carry gun, shooting is nothing Islamic about this. Nothing Christian, nothing Buddhist about it. But it's about transform you to be real men, right? Real men during the training. My interest now is after the fighting. What happened to those people after fighting? So people like him, for people like you transition well into civilian life because you are part of the formal military training. Unlike a group of JI or all other group, not only Indonesia, Thailand, anywhere too, they are not part of the program. So they carry that mentality. Of a militarized toxic masculinity. So it's again, going back to that second process, and second topic, number 2 will be process and relation. Your relation, for those who get involved in violence, anywhere in the world I've been talking to, usually start off with their internal problem. Quest for identity, meaning, acceptance. In my film that Brother Chua watched already, called Seeking the Imam, a girl from a stone throw here in Singapore, in Batam. It's not that far. She was born in middle-class family. She won swimming competition. She played piano. Her dad working as one of the director in Batam, the Batam authority. Yet she encouraged 26 of her family to travel to Syria. So in one of the screening film, because in Indonesia I'm an activist in Indonesia, I use film to educate like this. Usually film screening first and then asking how did you make the film, thing like this. So I was approached by a mother who came to me after watching my first film called, said, "Oh, Huda, can you help? 26 of my family left to Syria." I'm just a filmmaker, how could I help you? But of course, in Indonesia, it's very chaotic, right? The government, the system is not well established. It's require creative, genius, crazy guy just to find ways. Then, because I did my research about this family, I talked to my foreign minister, then I went to Syria and then evacuate this family, but I followed through the process. Now this film, I use this film as a screening here too in Singapore as part of the education in Harmony Diversity Center where people actually come and having discussion with me. So it's going back to that concept. Dania, a girl also. So in this context, we need to understand when we study gender, man is not inherently violent. Woman is not inherently peaceful. No, serious what? Margaret Thatcher said, we need to bomb Argentina. With the Falkland issue? But Mahatma Gandhi said, no lah, don't use violence lah, ahimsa. So, people think, and this is why people tend to forget that. So we are seeing a number now with this gadget, democratized people joining the violent group. In my study within the Islamist group, many women get involved now. And then look what happened. One cases that I handle, they call it deportees. In Indonesia, deportees. So Indonesian, or not only Indonesian too, those who want to join ISIS in Syria, but was stopped in Turkey because of immigration problem, deported to Indonesia. And there was no systematic program to understand these people, women, very polite, I don't want to, sorry, just follow my husband, when then security forces full with that, right? And then slip to the radar, and then she involved as a suicide bomber in Holo, in southern Philippines. So woman was involved, Surabaya cases also, in Medan case also. This is a wake-up call, the need for us to look at things to the gender perspective. It's going back to the socialization. I made a documentary called Pengantin, The Bride. I used this here in Singapore for film screening. It's a story about 3 women looking for love through social media. Are you hopelessly romantic here? So this woman looking for love in social media. So if I have before COVID, I screened this film in mosques in number of occasions. Many Indonesian worker, woman, maid actually get together, watch the film. I always ask the questions. Are you hopelessly romantic? And everyone giggle like this, the same. Are you trying to find partner? Oh, yes. Are you trying using app? 99% rely heavily on, social media. They bought, tired, and your Wi-Fi is free for them, right? So click here, click there, this one here. And there is a start off of this. And then there's 3 women, 2 were fooled by ISIS catfish. And they married and prepared to be a suicide bomber, a woman called Dian. And the other one, Ika. But one failed. One managed to refuse because she checked first. She verified offline. Many, because men fall in love through eyes. Wow, okay, that's men. Well, strong, I don't know what's strong. I don't know, I cannot speak like this here. So men through eyes, but women through ears. Wow, you're very good with that dress, like this, through ears. So if you have a partner, better call your partner, not 1 time, 1 hour, but 2, 3 times, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. So that is, no, seriously, because different. So going back again, this is this process. Woman is very different with men. So we cannot understand. So number 2, which almost done, this one. Banality of Evils, PR, process and relations. So having healthy social relation is very critical. Therefore, here in Singapore, I have a lot of community engagement to provide just a healthy social relations is very critical. I think I spoke to your president here. The problem with Singapore, in each area, so self-contained what? When you live in the West, you only know West. When you know the East, you only know the East. It's only just Singapore, When I said, far away in Singapore, I'm Indonesian, When you compare me Singapore far away, I travel 3 hours, only reach Ambon. If I go to 3 hours, I still in my country. 3 hours, flying. To Papua, 6 hours is faster going to Tokyo. Right, this is my dear from Ireland, understand better. And then here, if I talk to my Singaporean friend, let's meet up lah. Wow, so jauh lah, so far away. That make me laugh, okay lah. So I said, this is my personal problem too with my son now. My son not that rugged compared to me, going here, going there, so far away, daddy. Come on, it's just so well connected. So because of the socialization, social relation, if you only mingle with the same group, you tend to have very narrow. So that's for those who get involved in this violent extremism. They socialize and only in the same group. So they do not have enough, call it empathy, understanding, compassion, lost that kind of touch. So when I think when, are you okay to speak, before, this Buddhist? Of course I'm super okay. I'm Javanese, run in my blood. I'm from, my dad come from Magelang. Literally, we can cycle to Borobudur. We cycle, like I live in Pasir Ris, I cycle to the beach. We cycle to Borobudur. So I'm a Javanese. And people think about Indonesia as a now, but Indonesia is an old wine in the new bottle, very old. So running to my blood is Buddhist, Hindu, Islam. So therefore I call myself a Javanese Indonesian Muslim. Muslim by birth, I cannot choose my parent, right? So, so my person Muslim, I respect. But in terms of understanding, in the end of the day, we need to promote humanity. We need to find how can we live peacefully and then find the best solution to solve any humanity issue. So this is the last one. So almost done. How do we engage people who used to be part of this violent network? How? So number one, you understand banality of evil. Number two is PR. This is the last one. Simple also. What you need only 3 H. I only remember 3, 3 H. Therefore, my son only 3. I have 3 children too. 2, 14, 2, 12, and then 11. The last one is because of COVID. Nothing to do. We have another baby. So this is a Singapore-born baby. So Singapore is because I'm not PR, so a bit expensive to do here. It's an expensive baby, so so she's the dear of my heart. So this is the last. How to engage people like that? How could me, can speak to the so-called creepy guy inside? How? This is the trick, actually. So if you have a trouble with your kid, trouble individual, actually the same. Number one is heart. You need to speak with the heart. Means understanding, listen more. Because understanding doesn't mean supporting, You just understand. With my son also, I cannot ask them not to watch gadget, like stuck in the gadget. Cannot what? You need to explain and then empower also. You cannot just say no. So number one is heart. Deep now heart, understanding. Speak with your heart. In my case, I'm running program in prison in Indonesia. So I'm running around in prisons. And when I run my project, all the prisoners love me. You know the program that I'm running? Cooking class. So I have a problem with my belly because I like, we run a cooking class. In Indonesia, I'm running a cafe too. So when the cooking class, food is the best way to connect people. Actually, the real greeting for Singaporean is not good morning or not chow an, no. The real greeting, oh, have you eaten what? Food over there. I keep listening to Singapore radio. You know what the radio quiz, the most favorite? Can you food? What is the best nasi lemak? It's all about food. And the woman, and this is the contradiction of Singapore. The woman loves talking about food, but in the same time, they always worry about putting on weight. Like you talk about food, but you worry. Just enjoy what. That's always the contradiction. Okay. Going back, so number one will be hard. You win their trust first. Don't talk to anyone, don't to engage anyone if you are not ready to listen. The other perspective, people perspective. So hard. Open up, compassion. Put your shoes. Don't force your shoes to others. First. And number two, hand. Hand mean what? In my case, transforming this skill, those people who get involved in conflict in Afghanistan and Moro, transforming their skill, like your skill, from carrying AK-47 to fry duck. Now I'm running a cafe where channeling, you channel their energy. With my daughter, she likes to grab everything now. So one time she grabbed a knife, real knife. If I take the knife by force, she will scream like a hell. You know, "Wah!" But if I, okay, why don't you try the same knife, but a plastic one? So you cannot just take away like that. You need to channel. You need to give them other things. The reason why I'm running cafe in Indonesia, we keep talking, I want to have also the same thing here, because in the food industry, we love to talk, and then ideas change, meeting so many people. And this is the beauty of Singapore, you know. I deliberately choose Singapore for now as my base before COVID, you know. Because Singapore is so connected with so many, and you are forced to accept differences. So accept differences. I say if you live in HPD, right, you open up, and then you meet so many, if you are Muslim, your neighbor carry dog inside the same lift, or maybe this. You have to accept that. How can you live like that? You know, this is a very beautiful part. And it's so connected. So, number 2 will be hand. You cannot just take away like that. You need to give them skill, meaning something that these people start to see themselves as useful member of society, connected. This is the last one. The last one, what we call it, head, ideology. You should challenge their ideology, the way of thinking, the last, not the first. Because if the first, you will fight what? No, we strongly believe that. So you need to challenge. You untrust first, makan first lah, we makan lah, and then after makan, help them to solve math problem first lah, if the kid, math problem, and then you start to say, oh, you should do this, you should do that. So there is the sequence of helping people engaging in the violence and like that. But it is through process, cannot just arrest them, put in the jail and throw the key, and then hoping that this guy will reform. No, it won't be like that. So I think this is all my talk.
Dedication of merits. Let us invite all sentient beings to participate in our acquired merits. Etta vata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Etta vata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Etta vata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Dedication of merits to our departed relatives and friends. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. End of service dedication. I dedicate the merits which I have accumulated to the cultivation of my mind in order to bring happiness and benefits to all sentient beings. I dedicate the merits to my parents, children, spouse, relatives, friends, colleagues, and my adversaries, wishing them long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. May we never part from the triple gem, and may we always walk the path towards enlightenment. Closing homage, let us pay respects to the triple gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho sanghang namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you once again, Dr. Huda. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us today. Do come again next week for our Sunday service.